Welcome to another video from Gweilo 60. Today I'm going to see if I can't corner Matt from JAYOE Nation, who's in Nanning today and tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. We leave for Sanjiang with China Radio International for a 4-day excursion. It promotes tourism to poor areas of Guangxi Autonomous Region. It's part of what I do here. And lo and behold, who's this? It's Mr.
Matt.
And you know that I'm down on the States a lot, eh?
Yeah.
You see that in my videos.
Yeah, sometimes.
What do you think about that? Am I too harsh?
You know, I don't know. I think people probably think I'm a little bit too hard on my home country as well. I think there's a lot of criticism you can make towards America these days, you know, especially when you're comparing it to what's going on over here.
Well, you see China, and you see the States, you see Europe, you see Canada. Like, we get the news here just like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know,
we see everything, if not more, because we're looking at local news from all over the world.
Yeah, and being from the States, you're from Michigan. Mm-hmm. Michigan's sort of like being Canadian.
Yeah. I am pseudo-Canadian. Windsor's just across the river.
Like, do you have like an accent?
Well, you know, if I really want to, I can do a pretty good Kirk, you know, from Gweilo. Hey, everybody, this is Kirk from Gweilo 60. We got another video here, you know. I'm here in China, you know. It's the cleanest place you've ever been. I mean, I lived in Canada. That place is a total shithole.
Yeah, shithole. He sounds like he's from Idaho.
Idaho. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, but okay, but you've seen all of the stuff that's been going on there, and you've got riots, you've got looting, you've got
fires.
COVID-19 out of control. You've got like fires all over California and Oregon, and you've got a narcissist for a president. You've got all of these weird things coming up.
It's a conflagration of a ton of different factors that are just...
And they're the people trying to tell China how to run their country.
Yeah. It's a strange situation because I think that, I mean, if you look at what... I get a lot of people in my videos and they're shocked at some of my thoughts and opinions, but I've gained those thoughts and opinions from being different places and seeing things with my own eyes. And I think when you're caught inside of America, everybody's sort of bred to hate China. It's like the big scapegoat for all of the things that you might be able to look at it from a more nuanced perspective and say, maybe we did some things wrong. Maybe we're doing some things. I mean, okay, an example is this wildfires, right? These wildfires now on the West Coast are ravaging the West Coast. It's really a problem. And the president says you got to rake the ground. You got to do more forest management. Now, forest management is important, but when you're dealing with millions of acres of land, it's not as easy as just... everything has to be a soundbite or a quick fix,
wouldn't they have to open the Mexican border to get Mexicans in to do all of that work? Because you're not going to get Americans raking the ground.
Raking an entire...
Well, that's just it.
Forest, you know.
So, but when I look at the United States, there's one thing that the Republicans and the Democrats both agree on, and that's to hate China.
Oh, yeah. That's why I was thinking, like, we were talking last night about what do you think is going to happen after Trump, whatever. Let's say Trump loses the election. I'm like, there's an inherent and fostered hatred for China that won't go away when you switch leaders. It's just going to stay here, and I don't necessarily agree with the ferociousness of the anger towards this country. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, it doesn't, and it's fostered by the politicians and the mainstream media in the United States, and the smaller countries, UK, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, they want to pony up to the United States because that's where the bucks is, that's where the military is, that's where the power is. So they'll take the lead of the United States and do exactly the same thing with their politics and with their mainstream media. So it's a whole group of countries coming down on China right now, dealing with their companies like Huawei, ZTE, arresting Meng Wanzhou, getting rid of Chinese students out of American universities, nixing their post-grad work permits from, I think it was 5 years down to 1 year, and calling them potential spies.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, makes no sense.
You know what's funny is it's like every country has corruption. Every country has a certain amount of blame. All of them. China does, America does, you know, everybody does. But it's just the amount of blame
That's a pretty neat word.
Exorbitantly. It's really exorbitantly. It's just too much, you know, and you need to spread it out a little bit and understand that everybody's culpable for different things. And I think everybody's just put the blinders on, especially with COVID. COVID was just like, America messed up so bad with the management of that. Yeah. I mean, we're looking at 200,000 lives now, and
that's
just a shame.
The American government is saying that without a doubt, China's responsible. The China flu, the Kung flu, the Wuhan flu, all of these things, and this comes right from the top. And it's not China; it's China with a Y. Yeah, you know, it shows an inherent racism, and that's coming from the top. How can the people in the country not feed into that if their leaders are telling them that?
Well, I mean, he's already let the cat out of the bag when he said he's playing it down. I've always tried to play it down. I will always play it down. Part of playing it down is blaming somebody else, you know, like, oh, it wasn't us, it was all China. I mean, it's literally, he let the cat out of the bag, guys. He told everybody, all of us, that he's been lying from the start to try to make sure that America looks great and everything else looks bad. And part of that is to blame China and make them the scapegoat. You know?
So how do we get away from this? Or do we?
No, travel. I think everybody needs to travel. Just like, I mean, we were talking about that earlier. I arrived here yesterday, and so we sat down. Part of being a traveler is understanding different points of view and different lifestyles. And if you're watching China on the news, it's totally different from us standing here and behind with this beautiful backdrop and walking around and talking to locals and kind of experiencing it. And people might think, you're a shill, you're a bad guy, you're whatever. It's not really that. That's not the case. We're just seeing it.
Shill.
Well, he is. I'm not. You know, I'm not as bad as him.
He's a semi-shill.
Shill in trading.
Yeah, shill in trading. Yeah.
But all of what I said is not like, people think that you say what you say because you're being paid for by this larger corporation. I think
Google pays me.
Google pays you.
LLP, they pay pretty good.
I only say what I say. If I get paid for it, hey, that's great. But nobody's paying me to say a certain word because I believe the certain things, because I see it with my own eyes.
They never tell us what we can and can't do, which is sort of nice, because you know, I did a bunch of videos dealing with the free trade zone, and I went into some areas that were restricted areas. You know, the Tinzo port and the smart city and the back end of the smart city, showing what data they're collecting. They allowed me full access, and I could videotape anything and everything. But and you know, never told me one thing. Yeah. You can't do this or you can't do this. They just said, "Have at it, Gweilo.
Carte blanche.
Have fun. Yeah. You know, tell your story." So, do you think the states would do that?
Yeah.
With them collecting information?
Well, I mean, the states has an interesting dichotomy with this whole freedom of speech, but you also have the freedom to say the most crazy things that might. I don't know. That's a deeper issue as far as what freedom of speech in America really is and where its limitations lie.
You can stand in front of a cop and call them down and give them the finger. Just so long as you don't touch them, they can't do anything to you. Yeah. Seen those videos?
Sort of like strippers.
Strippers. Yeah.
As long as you don't lay a finger on them, you're good.
You can't lay a finger on them?
Well, in Canada you can, I guess.
Well, no. Do we have strippers in Canada?
Oh my God, Windsor! All my friends used to go to Windsor on the weekends to go to the strip clubs. Because in Windsor, in Windsor it's totally naked. Totally naked.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. In the USA, it's you got to wear the bottom.
I'm from the western part of the country. We have more morals than the eastern part of the country. That's where Trudeau comes from, and he has no morals at all. But he has nice socks, and he goes to the UN.
I like Trudeau. I like Trudeau.
Well, the hell's the matter with you? Holy!
See, we can disagree. We can disagree.
Well, that's just it. So there's always going to be a rift between the Western world and China.
Yeah. And not always. Eventually, we're all going to be mixed.
You think so?
I think so. As long as we survive long enough, we'll all mix together. We'll all sort of unify into some sort of. Well, I mean, obviously I have localized cultures, but I think that you know, you have a Chinese wife, I have a Chinese wife, I have a Chinese half baby, and you know, eventually we're all just going to mix together.
Well, and
as scary as that sounds to some people,
and I'm not always positive on China. Chinese beer sucks. Like seriously, it does. It's not very good.
It's not very good.
No.
You know what beer is really good? North Korean beer.
Oh, is it?
Some of the best beer I've ever drank is in North Korea.
You know, not all Chinese beer is bad, because when I was in Chongqing, they had a craft brewery that had some of the best beers I've ever tasted. Ooh, really good stuff.
Yeah.
But pricey too, I would imagine. You know what I mean? But so it's you got to take the good with the bad. And living in China for so long, we sort of look at the world a little bit differently, and we see the rhetoric that's coming out of the West, and we know it's not true. And that's part of the reason why we do our channels, is to show people the real China, not the China that's being portrayed by the Western media.
Yeah. You know, I was never. You're like, your videos are more opinionative. You're talking about your feelings and your thoughts. I normally kept all of that to the side and focused on travel, because I was like a traveler cycling around the world. But when COVID brought me from China to the United States, and then from the United States back to China, I had such a perspective that was totally not being represented in media and by the leaders of America and everything. And I was like, holy cow, I have a first-hand knowledge of something that's really, really crazy. And so I was starting to share that, and now I've become this opinionative. I'm becoming more Gweilo 60, you know?
So what you're saying is, since you started associating with people like Gweilo 60, Barrett, Daniel Dumbrell, Alex from Reportify, Alex from Alex Absolute, and Jerry, and all of these other pro-China YouTubers, you've become basically one of us.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm pro-China. I'm just pro-truth. And right now, the truth is that China is doing really well.
You're pro-China. Take my word for it. I've watched a couple of your videos. Yeah, you're as bad as the rest of us. Shilling like a villain.
Shilling like a villain. We were talking about like doing shirts where, as a joke, it would be shilling like a villain. Yeah. And then there would be a picture of Gweilo on the back with those pixelated sunglasses,
And I think we could probably sell those online.
Yeah, probably. Right? Anybody interested in that? You let us know.
Anyway, that's a quick, I guess, double rant here.
Yeah, a couple of topics there.
In Nanning, China, with Matt from JAYOE Nation, and yours truly, Gweilo 60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button. Don't forget to hit the bell, and never forget to put a couple bucks in the children's Patreon account. It's for a good cause. Poor rural Chinese children, they just need a helping hand, and we can give them that helping hand. Help me help them. Thanks for watching.
Take it easy, guys.
Peace out.